Hello, and welcome back to Watching Worst Films, your guide to Razzie history. My name is Jericho Reed, and my co-host, Kyle Szymanski,
Hello, hello, hello.
are working our way through all of the Golden Raspberry Worst Film Award winners, taking in the worst that Hollywood has to offer. So, we are concluding our final double bill. Done them all. We
Done
are
them all.
concluding 1990. We were with you last week with the adventures of Ford Fairlane, and we are taking our Ford back into the garage with. I don't like that analogy. We're pulling into the station with 1990s Ghosts Can't Do It. So,
Mhm.
we have a lot to cover, so let's
We
dive
do.
right into things. Kyle, what was your experience, your knowledge of this film?
So yeah, I knew about it. This is my Bow film, if there's
Yeah,
a Bow film. I tried watching this like 15 years ago with
yeah,
friends. This is when we were going through like The Room and
yeah.
all the classics, Plan Nines and everything. And we turned this off because we didn't think it was going to be fun. In my naivety as a child, I didn't think this was going to be worthy of riffing
Christ.
on or funny. So I I,
Yeah.
I watched up until spoiler the death until the ghost appears, and then I
Yeah.
kind of caved in.
Like,
So
this ghost fucking sucks. Where's
this ghost.
Casper?
I just so like I knew of it. I knew about it. I'd seen bits of it, but I just thought it was shit. So I was what I thought 15 years ago is not what I think now.
Yeah.
I Yeah, very aware of it. Very aware of Bo Derek and John as we are now from Bolero. This is our second feature from them, so
Yep.
it's
The
new, but
Dream
it's not new
Team.
for me. Yeah. What about yourself?
When you mentioned Donald Trump, I was like, oh yeah, I think I did. I did kind of know this film in association with his name, but that was it.
Mm.
Prior to starting this Razzie quest, I did not have I did not know Bo Derek was in this film. I didn't know anything about it. Even after knowing, like, I went into this basically knowing Donald Trump was in it. I didn't know if the ghosts were literal or if this was just
Yeah,
a kind of like poetic,
yeah.
like ghosts of the past. Like, if you hang on to the past, then maybe you'll forget to live,
Mm.
that kind of. But no, it is a literal ghost story. So I went into this more or less blind. We are kind of fucked for the budget box office guess, as the budget
Yeah.
for this film is not around online and no one seems to know. Some people say, like, oh, well, it looks really cheap, so it can't be much. Another one is like, well, we do have a lot of international locations, so really,
So I tried finding it as well.
yeah,
I could only find MGM or no wait, is it MGM? Yeah, MGM. I think it's MGM or TNT or
yeah,
someone did the home release of it, right?
hmm,
So I'm thinking this had 10 to 15 million budget.
yeah. At the very
This
least,
is
it's 10, I
at
would say,
at
yeah.
least it's 10, but probably 10 because John's not bringing home the bacon for his past few features.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is a Ted Turner esque. Yeah, buddy, I'll give you 10 more million.
Yeah.
Get Bo to get them out, and we'll put it on home video and whatever. My friend,
Reaping.
yeah, like it isn't. It does feel like just a write off,
Yeah,
a favor.
yeah.
Yeah, you can have one more film to at this point a very old man. So yeah, like I know this didn't make money though. So I was gonna say for taking a guess, this had a very limited run. Then in fact it might even be foreign. I don't even know if it got coast to coast in America release, but very limited. Dumped on video and Turner Classics or MGM Classics or whatever, and it just put it in syndication. No way to tell. Made no money.
So, according to Wikipedia, this was released on October 17th, 1989, a foreign video premiere, and then it was released on 1st of June 1990 in the US.
Oh,
So
so it did get a yes. Yeah.
that's why it qualifies as a Razzie contender for 1990. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, it did get a limited cinematic
Which
release
is
in the US.
which is actually interesting. I didn't know it was 1989. Just assumed 1990 because I was going to talk about Ghost from
Oh shit!
1990.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no, they were
but
ripping off John Derek.
yeah,
So,
John Derek shot first, so fair play.
so we do have a figure, as given by the movie database, who obviously aren't as reliable as our beloved Wikipedia, got me through
Oh
many an essay. Never, never steered me wrong, old Wikipedia. So the movie database. Do you want to guess the figure they have?
no. 150,000.
25.
Ah, fuck! I was way too optimistic there. I'm thinking one of those Hollywood sort of like Trump isn't paying for a ticket,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
like, butts are going in seat with his entourage, but they're not paying, so
yeah,
it's hard to fucking tell. Yeah, that's not it's still more than I kind of expected, though. I didn't think this made
yeah.
it there.
John Derek went to see it 1,000 times. Or realistically, given inflation, John
Yeah,
Derek
yeah,
went to see it 2,000 times.
he went to see it 2,000 times, but the fucker forgot to pay. So
Okay, so starting off with this film, let's just not try and give a plot interview. It will become clear as we go on
I
what the plot is about.
I could
Because
give you the footnotes. I could fly through it. I don't have much notes. I need to tell you this now. I
uh-huh,
have thoughts. I have opinions. I have a lot to talk about. But I got swept up in Ghost Can't Do It. Before we even get started, I just want to say I think this is the most I've laughed during this Razzie podcast. I didn't expect to laugh so much. I was
yeah,
so low expectations. I so had Bolero on the mind. I knew Bolero was just going to happen again. I
yeah.
didn't expect to enjoy this as much as in an ironic way, in a purely ironic way.
Okay. Mm.
I had a good time.
We could not have had more different experiences. This is one where maybe it would have been changed if we were watching it together and riffing on it, but I hated this. This was one of
Yeah,
my
no, it.
least favorite watches.
Oh, okay, nice. This is
Yeah,
nice. This is a
I.
yin and yang. It's been a while.
Yeah. So we'll just start with the film and it will become clear what the plot is, but I want the listeners who haven't seen the film to kind of have the weird, kind of like unsteady footing that we had going in. So
Yes,
we start off with a bunch of sepia photographs. Like, I can't remember if Bo Derek is actually in them or if they're just stock
I
photographs,
believe it's
but
both.
sepia, and they're just like cowboy Old West kind of photos. So I was like, have I fucked this again? Are we watching the wrong film? Is this Cowboys Can't Do It?
Yeah,
And I had no idea what to expect here. But I was starting a countdown. I was like, how long is Bo going to keep her clothes on? So I as soon as the credits began, I was like, this isn't gonna be long. John's gonna be like, okay, we need to hook the audience first. My wife
hmm
needs to get naked. And because it happened within the opening credits of Bolero, so the credits have stopped playing, so he's learnt restraint in his old age. But my first kind of note is this just makes me want to play Red Dead Redemption 2,
yeah.
seeing Bo
And
Derek
I
ride around
a
on a horse in the snow.
100%. I mean, I thought Bolero. I was like, was Bolero a western? Am I remember? Is it still Bolero? It's very fucking weird. I could only imagine it's a holdover from something else, and he
Yeah.
didn't know how to open it. So, yeah, Indiana Jones esque. Let's do a map. Let's pan across this great adventure film we're waiting to embark on.
Yeah. So my next note is, God, is this another fossil that Bo is fucking?
Yeah,
Because she's riding around on a horse, and then her husband is introduced, who I think is played by Anthony Quinn. I'm sure
it
he
is
won't
Anthony
thank me
Quinn.
for naming him, but yeah.
Is best known for Ghosts Can't Do It.
Yeah.
Yeah, Academy Award winner Anthony Quinn is surrogate John Derek,
Yeah.
and
He's kind of interchangeable. Who was the surrogate John Derek in Bolero?
wasn't it John Derek?
No,
No, I always assume John Derek is acting when he's not, and in my
Yeah.
memory, it was John Derek in the role, and it was you know, just a fucking passion project. I get to die and then fuck my wife as a ghost.
Oh, it was
But
George
like it
Kennedy.
wasn't
George Kennedy was playing
George
John
Kennedy,
Derek in
yes.
Bolero.
So there's always a John Derek surrogate. This time round, it's Academy Award winner Anthony Quinn. Um, a weird sentence, isn't it? Like,
That's the thing. Once you win an Oscar, you get your pick of the roles.
yeah. So it's a very strange cast, though. Like, I don't think I noticed much credits until I always talk about popping and perking up when I see names.
Yeah.
I didn't. The two I did raised my eyebrow. Julie Newmar, I seen
Yeah,
her credit appear, and I was like,
yeah,
oh fuck, Catwoman,
yeah,
and Mickey Knox, who
yeah.
is best known for most people as name dropped by Tarantino in Natural Born Killers. He's Woody's
Oh,
character,
yeah.
Mickey Knox, but he is also in everything. He Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think he translated it into English for
Wow.
Sergio Leone, and he is in. I think he's in Godfather 3 or 2. He's in a lot of things. I'd have to get IMDb up. But I remember the name because I'm like Natural Born Killers, Mickey and Mallory. I remember that to the day I die. So yeah, perked up for them too. But otherwise, it was like it's a very short cast as well. There isn't any big names. There isn't any. This isn't like Inchin where I'm seeing credits and music and stuff. This is just stock, very small production companies popping up as well over these titles.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fill you with like great optimism. That's for
There's no
sure.
studio exec oversight here of someone like, I don't know, like I'm imagining like a Coen Brothers executive from Barn Fink just leaning over John Derek's shoulder and being like, uh, I know that creating your like therapy picture might be fun for you, but can you make sure to include something for the audience?
Yes.
Um,
Don't worry, I've got one
this is
man
just the
just for the
height of
audience.
indulgence. Yeah, this is the
I've
peak of
got.
indulgence.
Anyway,
So, it did not take me very long to write this note. How is Ford Fairlane considered as bad as this?
100%.
Like,
I mean,
this is the.
and this is what I talked about in Bolero as well. Like, I will say this does look like it isn't a movie, but it can look like a movie at times.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
isn't like amateurish. Like John Derek has been in the business a long time. He knows how to at least frame,
Yeah,
and he can do the clapper one handed. He can do
yeah.
it. He's able to get through this. Um, but like, it isn't a movie, like really, and although there's times where you've got that, it's not like a Tommy was so strangely
No.
pieced together. But when you compare it to Ford Fairlane, which instantly I did, like I loved Ford Fairlane. It was a great time, and it
Yeah,
was a
same.
fucking movie. It was a. I will sit in the theater and watch a big budget movie with my popcorn. I couldn't imagine sitting in a theater and watching this in any world.
Ford Fairlane has taken over my personality. I've just started dressing in leather. I'm drinking yeah, milkshakes and sambuca. I'm just going, "Oi!" after
Oh,
every
you
comment I
got a kid
make.
sidekick. You're all ready to go.
Yeah, I yeah, I am obsessed with Ford Fairlane, and this is the biggest injustice, not in the history of the Razzies, but certainly with their
It's not.
double bills. Fantastic Four and 50 Shades, whatever. Under the Cherry Moon, Howard the Duck, close enough. But this and Ford Fairlane, there is a gaping chasm between the
It
two.
absolutely is.
This
Like
beats Ford hands down in every
hands down, there's
department.
no competition. The other two you could at least debate. You
Yeah.
could you
Yeah,
could play
exactly.
devil's
It's a matter
advocate.
of taste. Like,
Yes.
oh well, if
Here
this
here
annoys
is
you,
not.
then. But
Here is
unless you
no way
just,
in way.
yeah, you have to just hate Andrew Dice Clay with a passion and
Yes.
be like, well, um, Ford Fairlane had Andrew Dice Clay, and Ghosts Can't Do It did not have Andrew Dice Clay. So really, But my next note, fuck's sake, the lip biting is the honey of this film because
Yep.
obviously I'm still in therapy for having seen Bo Derek drizzled in honey over Bolero, while that shot of like the alien sort of dripping
Yeah,
the guy,
yeah,
that still haunts my nightmares. And
yeah.
John Derek gives us another one where he bites his wife's lip. That's their kind of thing of like, ooh, come on, close, honey, and let me bite your lip. And it's just horrible. It kind of reminded me of Joe Biden sucking Dr. Jill Biden's finger. It was just something that I did not want to see.
No, I get that.
um, so yeah, we'll be trying to repress this memory for the next little while. And this is where I think he collapses. They're riding horses. They're having
You're
some
right, Norris.
hijinks.
So that's it. Like I'll keep the footnotes. I'll keep the bullet points. Bo Derek and surrogate John Derek are a happy, married, wealthy couple. They go on adventures on horseback and through the snow, through the woods. They have wild, rampant elderly sex. They are happy, deeply in love. It takes us 5 minutes.
Everyone's dream of
Everyone's
marrying a
dream.
decrepit old man. Yeah.
Yeah, but he can still do it. He can still do it.
Because he's not a ghost.
Because
So,
he's not
yeah.
a ghost. So he has a heart attack on a horse,
Yeah.
and in a great collapses. It's fucking great. It's my
Yeah.
first laugh as well. I think it was just him going down. Just because you've got a direct bow and like panic and you've
Yeah.
got to get like convey this and you can't do that. You're not getting Bo Derek to convey panic.
Yeah.
Loved it. So basically, he goes to the doctor, or the doctor comes to him when he's in recuperation, and says, "Yeah, you've had a heart attack, and you just got to tone it down, Mister Scott, Mister John Derek. So like, no more wild horseback adventuring, and no more sex with your hot, flexible wife. It's just you can't. You've got to cut it down, and really fucking quickly. Like I'm talking scenes. John Derek decides,
No, no,
I
no.
can't.
Wait.
Okay,
Because
is
he
there something in
has,
between?
before he commits to that path, he's like, well, no problem, doc. Just give me a new ticker. And the doctor's like, no, I'm
Oh yes.
sorry.
Oh fuck, I forgot. So yes,
There's
yes,
no new heart over
the doctor
60.
stops. Yeah, he stops. You're over 60. And he's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
over 80 probably, but
Yeah.
he's with no hearts. Hearts only under 6 days.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a line as well from John Derek where it's not exactly, but paraphrasing. But I'm rich almost, But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. Just find some homeless person and
yeah,
steal their heart
yeah.
and give it to me. I have value.
And
Youth
if
is
you were
wasted on the
59,
young.
Mister, if you were 59, we could have maybe done a deal, but you're
Well,
over 60.
this is the film that I came up with watching this film. Was I'm like, it's gonna be like a dark comedy of a John Derek surrogate who is like, oh, like I'm not in great shape, so like your rail card expiring and trying to get the most of it before you age out.
Mm.
The John Derek surrogate just attempts to burn through his heart at 59 to be like, if this thing can fail before my 60th birthday,
A
I'm
hundred
okay.
percent.
So just
I thought
eating
this.
ice cream, just
I
chugging
did the
butter, be like,
exact
come
same.
on, come
I
on.
made
You're not
I
in that
made
good shape.
fucking Logan. I had right. So he looks down. He sees the
Yeah.
Logan run. The jets start flashing, and now Anthony Quinn stars in Crank 3. And yeah, and the
Yeah.
move, and you've got you've used up 5 minutes. We've got 85 minutes to tear through this, and he's got to get. I was so excited for this, but no, he's over 60.
So
It's the
no
only
new
way John
heart.
Derek. It's the only way John Derek can write his way out of this. It's got to be Ash. Fuck it, he's over 60. No new heart.
And he
He
keeps
should have
this. He
he
keeps.
should have just killed him. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
this now.
Yeah.
This whole fucking dilly dally and time wasting. He should have fell off the horse and died and
If
saved.
he died, he's way more sympathetic and the movie
A
moves a
hundred
lot
percent.
faster. If he just
A
doesn't get
lot
to say
faster.
goodbye to his wife and it's just kind of like, you can understand the lack of closure and why
Yes.
he hangs around as a ghost. You can
Yes.
maybe be more sympathetic as opposed to this malevolent evil spirit
Yes.
haunts the film.
But that's 101, isn't it? That is just
Yeah.
such a simple screenwriting
Yeah.
technique, and
Yeah.
he is just no idea what he's doing. And I was baffled. Again, I am sitting in my chair, like trying to get in the brain of John Derek here. And I know, did John write? I don't think John even wrote it, but I'm blaming him anyway. It's his fucking movie.
No, he wrote it.
He did write it.
Yeah.
Fine.
I like that you think that someone else could possibly have written this. Like, this
No,
is
'cause
just a spec screenplay about an old man fucking
No,
their
but,
younger wife and
gonna
his old
be-
man's inadequacies, as if that could possibly have come from any
There's gonna-
other mind than John
It's
Derek's.
gonna be from I knew the credits would roll and it'd be based on the
Based
book,
on original idea by
Spectral
John Derek.
Lovings by 1943, and he's butchered it and ripped it apart.
A story by John Derek, screenplay by Charles Kaufman. Well, I have another couple things here. So the doc, because John decides to keep his frailty secret from his wife, and the doc tells him, "She's no dummy, Scott." And I'm like, come on. There has arguably never been more of an on-screen dummy in cinema history than Bo Derek. It's just like complete head empty. Like, just doesn't, like, she doesn't read as a brain surgeon on camera.
Not at all. Not at all.
With the best will in the world. And then we get more lip biting, which I have noted as disgusting, because I think he's like, well, come on, let Papa bite your lip one last time. And then this is where you were gonna race off to. So
I did miss out a little bit. I don't know why. Again, this is what happens when you get sucked up and don't take notes and you lost in the whirlwind of love.
This is why we're
Um,
such a good partnership. Young
this is,
ingenue
yeah.
and decrepit old man.
So,
It's like we contrast, we complement each other's differences.
so John Derek, Anthony Quinn, whatever the fuck he's called, Mr. Scott,
Yeah,
Great Scott,
yeah.
decides he can't have enough. He's had enough.
Yeah.
He can't do this anymore.
If I can't fuck
So,
Bo Derek, then life isn't worth living.
well, that's it. I'm surprised he didn't kill Bo. I genuinely thought if I can't sleep with you, no one can. And I'll just live out my days as a asexual John Derek. Yeah, so he leaves a note. I can't remember how Bo finds the note. Do you?
Okay, I'll talk you through. Bo's out
Yeah.
like in a on a horse and cart or something, and then a gunshot rings through the estate, and I was ashamed to say I laughed because this is directed so poorly. We get like a freeze frame on Bo. Like the
Yes.
gunshot rings out and she's kind of
Yes.
like in a car or whatever. She's sitting down something, coming back to the house, and it's kind of like and like she is terrible. She is so bad. And then like strings come in, and I think she runs
That's
into the house being like, "No, don't go, don't
because
go."
she runs up the stairs.
She runs up all the stairs,
Yeah.
yeah. And
I've
then
got that burned in my brain.
Room-esque finds him where he's been fucking her dress, and I think that's where the note is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then that's it, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
that's the end of John
That's
Derek.
the end of the movie because, as everyone knows, there is no afterlife. You do not return from life after
Yeah.
death. So, end. But wait,
Eh.
hang on. Wait, what's this? We cut into the afterlife where my note is hitting on an angel for fuck's sake. Like he's committed suicide mere moments ago, and he's in the afterlife, which is conveniently just like kind of like a black shimmering backdrop.
So
And
yeah. I'm glad we're here. I couldn't
uh,
remember if there was beats and funerals in between. Yeah, I need to talk about this. This is not what I remembered. I
yeah,
remembered like a shimmering effect, like on set, and it's
yeah,
just you put like a little filter, a little bit of Vaseline on the film,
yeah.
make him look eerie. Or I forgot he was in front of a black screen for 60 minutes.
There is
With
shimmering as well. Did you
there's
just?
water, there's a layer of
Yeah,
water
yeah,
over it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like I'm meaning shimmering, like
Yeah,
a little
it's.
sparkle, like a
Oh
little
yeah, no,
ghostly
it's
effect.
clearly just light going
Like a
through, like
vampire.
a.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah. No,
just a
it's.
fucking plexiglass with a
Yeah, yeah,
basin
yeah,
of water on him. And
yeah.
so like yeah, he's in the afterlife. He meets his guardian angel, none other than Catwoman, who doesn't look like Julie Newmar anymore. You're looking confused.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot that was her.
Yeah. Well, there you go. She is, yes, my beloved
Yeah,
Catwoman from 1966. Batman, who
yeah.
is older. I mean, this is 25 years older, so like you wouldn't notice, I don't think. And she's not acting. She is, she's a getting older actress that is. Again, this is where I'm like, she's in Hollywood. This is favors. Probably worked with John Derek in the '50s, and are you free for half an hour to stand in front of a black screen with Anthony Quinn, say a
Yeah.
few lines? She doesn't do anything. She delivers the exposition about the rules that you're trapped in this world, and I don't know. It's his first case, isn't it? Because he makes a virginity joke to the angel. She's like, "You're my first human." So
Yeah.
we're getting like and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I was her first down there too." To Bod, which is lies.
We've seen Bolero.
I've seen Bolero.
We know that she was with, I wouldn't say George Scott, but no.
Yeah.
George Scott spared the shame of being a John Derek surrogate. Um, she was with the guy in Bolero, so Bo's had old men before Scott. So yeah, it's just like there is like slight tension as he's flirting with the angel. He's like, "Oh, you're a pretty young thing. Do you know if my dick works up here?"
Yeah.
And it's just like you've forgotten about your like the whole thing is meant to be like we're kind of going with the ghost thing of like their love was so strong, death couldn't even keep them apart.
That's
But as soon as he sees another woman, he's just like,
yeah.
"Oh, a hubba
Oh,
hubba."
yeah.
And
So
so,
I
yeah,
can't remember this bit. This is where I'm going to clear up. Does he trick or convince Julie Newmar to stick about. I can't remember what they actually talk about. I was too busy laughing.
I thought she was just out of the picture immediately. She was just kind of like,
Well, she
okay,
is
well,
like, yo, I'm your guardian.
here's how heaven works. You can go to heaven, or you can stay in this in between. This is kind of
But he's in the
here's
in
your
between because he
orientation
killed himself,
package.
isn't it?
What?
I thought he was in the in between because he committed suicide.
Yeah, but like I'm sure there's some choice if he's like, oh, I have unfinished business, so I'm gonna. Really, Julie Newmar should have sent him to hell. She should
Literally,
have
like
been
you,
like,
like that would have been great. You have 3 days, like close your business, and then the
yeah,
trap doors open and
yeah,
down you go. Like you're a monster of a man.
yeah,
um,
exactly. Yeah.
so like I'm sure she does it. But anyway, the gist is he's allowed to kick about,
Yeah.
and
He's in heaven's waiting room. He's
yeah,
in
he's allowed in the
purgatory,
waiting
just
room.
like hanging around in this black void, which like I don't know, limbo's kind of seen as like just like not a desirable place. But this is fun. It's just like he's been killed in a video game and he's just this omniscient like camera
Well,
flying around
it's
talking
so
to Bo
fucking
and
weird as well, yeah,
yeah.
because it's like even as we go on, first thing his clothes changes
Yeah.
between times here. So like
Yeah.
I don't know
He's got a
what's going on.
wardrobe in the
What
void,
the
yeah.
fuck's the rule? But like the way they shoot it, so obviously he's in the void,
Yeah.
and Bo is just looking off frame and calling out and replying to him.
Yeah.
It's so fucking disjointed,
Yeah.
jarring, and off. It is awful. It's so funny. Like I laugh. It does great on you, but like they never interact. They're never on
No.
screen again,
Mm-mm.
ever
No.
again, till the
No.
end of the film. So you, God bless her, you have to direct Bo Derek speaking to a ghost, which I assume is just John feeding her lines, off frame. But
Yeah.
it is so fucking weird, and it's so bad. There's
Yeah.
you like do no effects and just have Anthony Quinn there and say only Bo Derek can see him.
Yeah,
Done.
exactly.
Done.
100%.
Done.
100%.
Ghost, right? Just fucking make Ghost.
I saw Brokeback Mountain in the West End a couple weeks ago, and they have the older version of Heath Ledger's character. It starts with a kind of like opens with him, old version of him, and then the whole thing is him kind of recalling, like meeting Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's just kind of wandering around watching things happen. And it's like it's good just to have this kind of weird ghostly
Mm-hmm.
presence. And Ghost can't do it, she'd have done that. It should be like,
Mm-hmm.
John, you can look, but you can't touch. That would have been way more, wouldn't have looked as shit. And it would have been like, I don't know, far be it from me to give John Derek advice on directing, but actors playing off each other may be a good
Who'd have
idea.
hint? Maybe it
Yeah,
is a good idea.
maybe.
Maybe it is a
Yeah.
good idea. So yeah, so like John and Bo are talking. Like
Yeah.
she's freaked out, but not that freaked out.
Because it's the funeral. He
Because it is the
appears.
funeral is when she appears, and great laugh, like when she just
Yeah.
vacant eyes turns like, "Oh Scott, is that you?"
Yeah.
And everyone else in the funeral straight face, like this bitch is going through some things. Like this, she's going through her trauma. She is struggling here. Great laugh, unintentional. I think this is
Yeah.
played for sincerity, but it's so fucking funny, and
Yeah.
just like again, like unintentional, like sincere stuff is so funny when it's delivered like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna like it's my note. I think I originally wrote this about the suicide scene, but I didn't mention it, and it's still relevant here. Bo is the worst actor the Razzies have ever seen, so
Yeah,
we'll deal with it towards the end when we cover their like decade and like quarter century kind of like
yeah,
Razzie greatest hits. But like, I don't think it's any contest. I think
I
like
don't know this.
I think Pia, I think Madonna, I think like anyone else who's in contention,
Madonna,
they just
Madonna's not. Madonna is a terrible actress, and I stand by it, right? But
Madonna's
she,
not
it,
Madonna's not good, but
but
she
she is.
is
But
capable of
she's an entertainer,
yeah,
right? She has a presence. She has a movement. She,
yeah,
is. Yeah, she can't deliver lines very convincingly. She's
yeah,
weird at emoting, but she can move. She's physical. She's capable of knowing where to like stand. She knows where cameras should be. She never looks lost. Pia Zadora tries. She's not
yeah.
good, but she fucking tries, and like
I
she can emote and she can like she can do stuff like you convince she can convince me, whereas Bo couldn't convince me like the lights are on. I
yeah.
just wouldn't believe it. Yeah,
I haven't seen anyone who just stinks out every single moment of every second they are on screen as much as Bo Derek. Like, there's
yeah,
no moment in which I'm like, oh, you know what, that was okay, or like
yeah.
I can't cling to anything as like, well, I see why they cast her, because she might have
Yeah,
failed with this, but she did bring this to the role, which, like, anyone else would be better than Bo Derek. I
yeah,
mean, you've got the nudity. She's obviously just cast for her body, but, like, she is so bad
yeah.
in terms of performance. It is horrendous.
And we're not that harsh on people. Like we compared to like fucking Mr. Ozzy, we're always springing to the defense of people. But
Yeah,
there's
exactly. We're
no
always
defense
devil's
for Bo.
advocating with like,
Yeah,
a performance isn't created in a vacuum, and the director has to, and with lines like these, how are you gonna? They're not working with. But no, this is like so much just at the foot of Bo Derek of like
yep.
just cannot conjure up anything other than actor awkwardly standing on a movie set. um,
And because she is, carrying this film as well, like
yeah,
there's no co-lead really
no,
for her to share scenes with. Like it's all on
yeah,
her, and she can't. Jesus Christ, she's just
she
not
can't do
capable.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bo can't do it.
Yeah.
1990.
So she then immediately goes on kind of like a honeymoon. Like her husband's dead, and she goes off scuba diving. And
um, I'm trying to remember. I mean, because she inherits all his money. Because he didn't know, because he promised her, he made her promise him that she wouldn't wear black at his funeral and she would go
okay,
on adventures and live life to the fullest. That was in
yeah,
his suicide note, and they didn't
yeah.
talk about it.
And
So
he's like,
she is,
actually, turns out the afterlife is real, and I have different plans for you, Bo.
yes, things have changed. So
New shit has
basically,
come to light.
yeah, so she's off fucking scuba diving,
Yeah,
spending money, living life, getting over, that's okay.
yeah,
That's a grieving process to
yeah,
just
yeah,
have a big splurge.
yeah.
And she gets to lay eyes on what's his name?
Oh, Fausto.
Fisto
Yeah.
is what I was gonna say. It's not Fisto, but it might be yes, played by somebody who I don't know. He's a no-name person that I didn't recognize. Obviously,
Well, he's black on Wikipedia, Leo
he's black.
Damon.
He's foreign anyway.
Yeah,
He's not an actor. He's someone that, just like Bo, that's been hired for his looks.
yeah,
He is a fisher boy, a cabin boy, a slave boy, I guess, for rich
yeah,
people. Like a general skivvy around the house to help out. And Bo Derek obviously sees him. He sees her. He pursues Bo. He sees Bo's
yeah.
beauty, and I think she's naked. This might be one of her first
Yeah, so
nude
it's
scenes.
about 20 minutes. We get about 20 minutes for nudity. Hey, that's progress, is
Yeah,
my observation for that, because she's scuba diving and then she gets onto the beach and strips off, and he sees her from afar, and we get a Hunter Biden boing
yeah. I woke.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
and I like this
X-ray
bit as
wolf.
well. I love this bit because Anthony Quinn's like, I fucking dinner. Like, don't even think about it. Like, this is
Well,
At first, he's like,
that's
no,
the
no,
funny
no,
thing is,
no.
prior to
Yeah.
this, I think they'd kind of had a conversation of like, oh, how do we stand and things, and
Well,
he's
because
like,
he
well,
just wants to.
I can't
He's
remember
like,
who
I'm a
floats it, but
ghost.
he's like,
Yeah,
well, you'll just like remain married to me, because we get a title drop. Bo says, ghosts can't do it.
can't do it.
It's that simple.
Because all he is one horny ghost. He is lusting after the flesh of Bo, and she's
It's
she's like,
it's like the baby from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where he's like, I got a 40-year-old libido. He's Gilbert Gottfried for
He's
some reason.
Gilbert's
He's like, I
back.
got a 40-year-old libido and a 4-month-old Tinky. Do you know how horrible this is? John Derek is just kind of being like, well, I do not have a corporeal form, so I'm kind of fucked here.
Yep.
But he floats the idea of like, hey, listen, Julie Newmar has just handed me a pamphlet on how ghosts work, and they can't do it, but they can possess people. And so he's like, how about I possess someone, Bo, and then I can fuck you as them? And Bo's
Yes.
response to this is, that's kinky stuff. And I was like, what? Demonic possession? Dabbling in Satanism?
You've
Like
got
breaking the fragile boundary between life and the after? That's what you consider kinky, Bo?
And the following line is, "We don't do kinky."
Yeah,
stuff,
she says,
Kat."
we've never been kinky. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there's no like sacrificing goats. And just like, it's truly bizarre. A horrendous
It's so
screenplay.
fucking funny.
And because then John is like, well, you know what? I might be open to the idea of you fucking another man if the other man is me. Because he's like, would you choose a young man? And she's like, I've never really had one before. And he's obviously asking questions to which he does not want to know the answer because he
Yeah.
flips out with, are you kidding? I was only 50.
Yeah, only 50. And they've been
Yeah.
together. And that's a good thing because I'm sure they mentioned they've been together for like 15 years. I'm
Yeah.
sure 15
So
is a
again,
number.
you're going to
So
be
I'm using
like,
the math in my head.
yeah,
I'm going to work it out.
exactly.
But I don't know how old Bo's meant to be. Like, Bo is obviously slightly
it,
more mature now than she was in Bolero, but she's not 21.
it says in Wikipedia, in spite of their 30-year-old age difference. So if
The
she's in her
30s.
40s,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, that's
yeah,
what Bo Derek is in her 40s, but I think the character's meant to be in her 30s
yeah.
ish.
And we met 20
Um,
years ago, Bo.
I was only 50, you were only 10.
Yeah.
Good.
Um,
um,
yeah, because he's just a predator. He's like a
he is
ghostly
Predator.
predator, a
He's a
spectral
ghost Predator.
predator. So it would not surprise me if at all, just as he's waiting for a body to possess, he was waiting for her to turn 18. Like, yeah. Christ. So, yeah, just a lot of question marks about Bo and John's. Oh, no, 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 no. Sorry. Not Bo and John. Katie and Scott's relationship, which bears no resemblance to Bo and
None at
John's
all.
relationship. Unfair to
Yeah.
project.
If you start saying Katie and Scott now instead of John and Bo, the audience is going
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
confused. I'm going to get
Well,
confused.
the funny thing is, on Wikipedia, cast Bo Derek as Katie Scott, née O'Dare. Why do we get her maiden name? Like, I don't think I've ever seen that on Wikipedia. It's not as if she gets like
No?
married during the like. It's not as if we get a before and after,
Yeah.
unless she goes back to using her maiden name after Scott dies. And anyway, and then next Anthony Quinn as Scott. So is this an old guy thing where he's called Scott? He's addressed by his surname, like Scrooge. Because I'm like, do not tell me that Scott's name is Scott Scott.
Reed, you're trying to tell me that people don't use their last name. Yeah, no, I never thought about that. I don't think it's mentioned. I didn't think surnames were mentioned once in the
Yeah.
actual film.
Well,
So yeah, that's a
yeah.
weird addition.
So my note for this is just like, as much as I hated this film, this is amazing because it's just like it's so naked in terms of, well, ahoy. It's so naked just in terms of like John Derek's insecurities. Because I'm like, I can't believe
Yes.
he got away with this twice. It's just like it's that Breaking Bad meme of like he can't keep getting away with this. Like, how many films is John Derek gonna make about an older man dealing with mortality and not being able to keep up with his younger Bo Derek? Like, it's
Well, this is it. This is the finale. This is the last John
yeah,
Derek picture. This is his swan song. This is his epilogue. This is his epitaph.
yeah,
This is everything for him. This is the
yeah. They
finale.
should have saved this as a posthumous release. Like our beloved Dana
Yes,
Klein
yes.
cried. Like, just like, maybe like 6 months after my funeral, open up the
Oh,
canister and
easy,
play.
because yeah, because then the tagline can be "Ghosts can't do it, but they can direct it."
um, yeah, this film is just like it's interminable as an experience, but as like on an intellectual level, it's amazing to just think of like, wow, this guy really was just spending millions of pounds to make like to do therapy. Like, people are always like, that's I
Yeah.
feel like that's a regular thing on Twitter, is like, oh, which director most incorporates their fetishes into their films? And people are like, oh, like David Lynch and this and Tarantino and feet. And like, they just pale in comparison to John Derek, who has made
Oh yeah.
two
Oh yeah.
films two films that are nothing but his cuckold fantasies. Um, like,
Yep.
you've got to applaud him on some level. Because It's
Yep,
just like,
you've got to.
well, yeah, most people would maybe like write this in a diary and not show it to the world, but like
Yeah, you speak it to a
yeah,
therapist or
exactly.
something.
He's
Yeah.
just working through his issues on not the biggest scale because again, $25,000, but like I
Mhm.
just like it's wild how this and Bolero are just like I wish he'd just been cryogenically preserved or he'd been like robot John Derek, AI John Derek, Futurama head in a jar. I wish John Derek was still working just so we could get
I really
continued
do. I want his
variations. Yeah.
megalopolis. I want his later day Jack.
Yeah.
I want his spiral into I want his
Yeah.
Netflix deal. I want to see everything that he's missed out
Every
on.
variation on like John Derek's like a vampire. We could get John Derek's Nosferatu. That kind of fits with the template. We could get John Derek
Hmm.
as like just some like immortal being that doesn't age. Oh no, Bo Derek maybe doesn't age and John Derek
No,
does.
no, they've got to age because that's going to make it funnier.
No,
Like
no,
your
I mean in the film.
2020
I'm just trying to
release.
think up like
Yeah, no, but like, yeah, yeah. In his later day releases, I want a 110-year
yeah.
old man trying to get it up for his 84-year-old wife. His hot young 84-year-old
I
wife. I
want
just want them to age it
84-year-old
up.
Bo Derek playing a 30-year-old character. That's what I want. Like I also want like I'm trying to think what John Derek's Benjamin Button would be like if like yeah because it that's why it needs to be John Derek's Twilight I guess is you need the timelessness of just like he
Mhm.
always needs to be older and I can't quite listeners give me a little bit of time and I will come out with like a pitch document of like 100 ideas for how we could make John
A
Derek.
hundred. I am keen for this. Like, how do I get Mickey
Yeah.
Rooney into it? How do I get all these stars from the 40s and 50s? They're decrepit corpses. I want that.
So, my next note is when John Derek is planning the scheme, basically he's like, okay, so Fausto needs to die, and when Fausto is dead, I can steal his body. And so
Yes.
they're planning to possess Fausto. And my note here,
Which isn't, yeah, sorry to interrupt. I don't know if I'm just being pernickety, but I don't think that's possession.
yeah, it's like
Um,
necromancy or
I thought you
like,
had to be
yeah,
yeah, that's a strange thing here. I don't think Julie Newmar is a good
yeah.
angel. That's all
It's
I'm
just
gonna
like I've
say.
been struggling to think about like the comparisons for this film because what genre? Okay, Wikipedia has this as a romantic crime fantasy comedy film. This isn't. This is a horror film.
Fucking hell. You can't just throw everything in and say it's a fucking different genre. This is a romantic, an erotic fantasy
Yeah,
film,
this
is
is John
probably what I
Derek's
would call
fantasy
it.
film. I think this is a horror because I think it's
Yeah.
Get Out.
I
Like
mean,
I think
it
it's
is.
just Get Out of like
It's
I'm gonna steal your body and you're not gonna be in the sunken place, but you're probably gonna be in the shimmering afterlife, just watching you
Yeah,
use this boomer white fuck. It's using like Bradley Whitford's
yeah,
gonna be voting for Obama 3 times in your body, and you're just like
yep.
doomed to watch it. So yeah, like my question was like, are we meant to think John Derek is evil? Because he is, but I don't think this film is
He is,
like,
you know.
you know,
No, the film's not. The film, because John Derek doesn't think John Derek's evil.
exactly.
You've got to think in his. He never thought there was anything wrong with grooming a
Yeah,
14-year-old. Like, this is all.
I
He's the
hate
hero.
I hate to do the baby brain of like, you know what? I don't think Patrick Bateman is a good guy or like the protagonists don't have to be morally good people or like depiction does not equal
Yeah, yeah.
endorsement. I hate to be one of those people, but like obviously like Mary Harron, Martin Scorsese, they're kind of looking like the camera looks at the protagonist in a way where they're kind of like,
Yes.
yeah, you know, like we're not holding this guy up. But I don't think John Derek
Yes.
like John Derek doesn't have
No,
a
no, no.
problem with his
No, 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 no.
actions, which makes this a kind of
No, not at
interesting
all. Not at
wealth
all.
commentary. It's kind of like Parasite. It's like, yeah, no, it's my God-given right to a new heart or indeed a new body, because Faust is not going to
Well,
do anything with it.
it frames the other rich lad whose name I don't remember and the actor I don't remember, the businessman that helps Bo. It paints him as
Yeah,
more of the villain because John Derek keeps saying like, "Oh, don't let him touch you. He's only
yeah.
wanting one thing. He's a dirty old man."
With
And
no ounce
like,
of
there's
self-awareness.
no self awareness to it. But the other guy whose name I don't know, I'm just gonna call him businessman. he's all right.
Yeah.
He's a nice lad. He is really supportive of Bo. He
Mhm.
helps in the deal. He takes her out like fucking playing football or
Yeah.
polo or something. Like, like he doesn't rape her or like do
That
anything. Like
high
I don't. I
high
think
bar to clear. He doesn't
a
rape
high
her.
bar.
He's like,
Well, that
okay,
because I
wait, wait,
need to
wait, wait,
get to
wait.
the. I
Before we
need
get
to.
onto this,
I
that's my
need to
next
get
note.
there.
But before we leave, John Derek being evil,
Okay.
like, I don't think John Derek thinks his character is evil, but this thing is so fucking sinister, and I hate it.
It's
And the whole time, I was like, I am just rooting for Dan Aykroyd to come in and blast this motherfucker. Like, this movie needs to end
oh
with
my
him
god.
getting like proton packed into the
I don't
trap.
want. I don't want John Derek's ghost to give Dan
No,
Aykroyd a
no.
blowjob. That's what.
I was like,
I do. I do think as well, though. I want to say in the evil part, Fisto is
yeah.
really innocent. He's a proper, just nice lad
He's
that
he's the
fancies Bo
perfect
Derek
he's who
and
Bo
works.
Derek should be because he's like a fellow himbo like
He's
airhead that's
he's
just
just
like
yeah.
yeah
He's an airhead. He just like I think you're attractive. You think I'm attractive. There's nothing else happening. So like all the sympathy goes to Fisto, and that's like I like, that's evil. This guy's got his whole life ahead of him. Here's this decrepit old
yeah
man ghost wanting to hijack him. Oh, yeah, evil,
yeah.
pure evil.
Okay, so my next note is the rapist. So take it away, Kyle.
Yeah, great. So this is for context. I think we've already had an appearance from our man at this point, so I'll try and
Yeah,
build it up. But Bo is closing a deal from John
yeah,
Derek's business. I don't remember what the deal was. I don't think
yeah.
it's important. And Mr. Businessman is the one that's helping. I think it's John Derek's partner, like business partner. But like he's you got this, Bo, and Bo's like, I got a good teacher. John Derek's told me everything I need to say. And at this business meeting, I think there's a few Asian lads, and there's of course what this film is known for. And who would that man be?
Well, it's only the 45th president of the
Who
United
is it?
States.
It's only the fucking 45th star of Home
It's
Alone 2,
only the Tango
and
Mussolini, Mango Mussolini. Fuck, Mango Mussolini.
keeping it in. Don't cut it. Yes, Mr. Donald J. Trump
Yeah,
is
Donald
in
Trump,
this
I like to
film.
call him.
Big Don.
Yeah,
He's playing himself,
yeah,
but and I told you this before when I watched it because I did see him. I do remember his part
yeah,
briefly. I'm convinced he isn't playing himself, and he is,
yeah,
but they never call him. They never name him ever in the
yeah,
film.
yeah,
So I was when I watched it or remembered it, I thought he was acting as a character.
yeah.
He's not, but he is kind of. It is a weird cameo. What's your thoughts on it though?
Well, I just want to give you a piece of IMDb trivia relating to him, which says the yacht that can be seen in the background in the scene with Donald Trump was his yacht, Trump Princess, at the time. It was built by Benetti in 1980 for Adnan Khashoggi, who named it Nabila. It was used in the James Bond film Never Say Never Again. Trump
Of
later
course, it
sold it
fucking
to
was.
Prince Al Walid bin Talal, who renamed it Kingdom 5KR. So
Hmm.
if we get the boat with Trump on it, the Trump princess, the Ivanka. Gentlemen, I want to take you out of my beautiful boat, the Ivanka. If we get that, that's all I need to know to have
That's
him
all you
as
need.
he's playing Donald Trump. But yeah, I think he's good. I think he steals the show. I think he's the
I
best
think he's fine.
performer. He's not.
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say
he's
best.
fine. He's
He's not the
fine.
best
In a
performer.
film
He's
in which
fine.
everyone stinks, he's
Yeah,
like he's better
he's
than
honestly fine.
John and Bo.
He says his lines.
Yeah,
He looks not at the camera.
yeah.
He's great. He's like me today in this episode. He's glowing. He has like a great bat. He's very well lit. His hair is
Angelic, yeah.
perfect. Yeah, he's got this halo around him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine. It is distracting, but it is also a sit up moment of
Yeah.
oh fuck, if at any point you were starting to drag,
Yeah.
the appearance of Donald Trump is gonna get you back to attention.
I think on this basis he could have played Robert Redford in Indecent Proposal.
Yeah, like honestly, there's not there's it's the same with Home Alone too though. Like he knows what to do in front of a camera. It's fucking Trump.
He's
It's
magnetic.
Not, you're not.
He's
Yeah,
charismatic.
you're
He's,
not. Bush, even
rather than being an
Bush,
actor
yeah.
and becoming the most hated person on the face of the planet, he could have become a beloved character actor.
He could have been a beloved Razzie winner. Yeah, he is fine though. He's just there to. He has a few lines with Bo. He's impressed by her.
Yeah.
businessness.
Yeah.
I don't know the fucking word.
Business
But anyway,
acumen.
yeah,
I don't
so
know. Yeah.
that's it. That's it. Whatever. He's barely. There's not actually that much to talk about with Trump.
Yeah.
He's in 2 scenes, shot in an hour, probably because he was hanging out with producers or someone. The
Yeah.
boat thing makes sense now. Fuck it, we'll have a party on your boat. Come and do a few scenes. She does say that she read his book and that's why she was good,
Yeah.
or like negotiating. She
Yeah.
knew that she knew the art of the deal. So I think there was
Yeah.
a little bit quid pro quo there. Like, you help us, we'll name drop your book, put you on a title, give you a credit.
Yeah.
Everyone's winning.
He's like, do you think there is any element of the art of the deal that covers demonic possession? Like, you know what? These young boat hands, they'll let you
Yeah.
do anything. When you're famous, you can do anything. Touch them, squeeze them, grab them by the body.
I mean, it's either that or he just needed his SAG card.
I'd love if Trump had written like the manual on, like, if Trump had like a demonic art of the deal, like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead. If Trump was like the guy who guided them through demonic possession.
Yeah. So anyway, I will get back on. So that's to set up the rape scene.
Yeah.
So these other side, the Donald Trump side, or I think it's the Asian lads that send the would-be assassin after Bo Derek, who is none other than Mickey Knox. Fantastic to see him pop up again.
Mickey
I don't know if
Knox, who's credited as the Pill Man.
Okay, I thought it would be Hitman or Heavy or something, like Heavy #1.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do much. He does get a good little. He gets great lines. He gets great weird fucking moments. But essentially, he's come here to look like he's going to assassinate, like fear, intimidate Bo Derek into taking sleeping pills.
Yeah.
So she will miss the big meeting, the big business meeting with Mr. Trump. And she fucking flees naked through this mansion as he's chasing her. And with this is my moment of holy fuck, Bo. Like, holy fuck. I think the line is, no, you're going to rape me. And it is I've delivered it with the same cadence as she has there.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking shocking. She jumps into a swimming pool and tries to hide behind a pillar, which is stupid, which is utter stupid.
Yeah, it's farcical,
he's 5 feet behind you.
Yeah.
He watched you jump in, and now you can't escape. Like, you fucking moron. And yeah, like, he shoots a little shot like into the marble just to be like, come on now, like, wisen the fuck up, take the pills. And this is a really, really weird scene because John Derek's ghost comes back to go, but he wasn't with her. He wasn't in the room.
No.
He heard her scream.
Well, he's respectful. He's not gonna hang out in a woman's
no,
bedroom.
But what's he?
Consent,
No, that's it. The line is like, oh, I could hear that. I know that scream anywhere as I came running. And
from where?
I'm like, what?
To where?
From where? What were you fucking doing? Like, you're a ghost.
He was hitting on his angel. He was just like, so, you got any plans after this? Oh wait, hang on.
And I'm like,
I'm getting a call on line 2.
I'm like, you were just sitting on that beach with all those women, aren't you? Just chugging one out as a ghost, and you've heard
John Derek's just spying on women in changing rooms.
Why? I was like, you're gonna come back and be like, maybe this session thing wasn't such a good idea. I can just fucking hang about here and perv on everyone. So I don't know the rules. I thought you had to be like watching over his wife, the power of love, and all this shit that we're talking about. Like, you can't just go on a plane and like, I don't know what the fuck he can do as a ghost.
He's just it's the love of Tail. He's Bradley Cooper. He's John Peters in Licorice Pizza. I love Tail so much. It's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me one of these days.
So he's like he tells Bo, he's like, I know this will. He's like, oh, if this was the good old days, and I would have fucking just sparked him out.
The line is, if you were only a man and these were the good old days.
There you go.
So I think he's fantasizing about Bo being a man now.
Bo being a man and having some fisticuffs.
Yeah.
But he's like, you're not a man. Yeah. And he has a gun. So I got this trip.
But maybe you can possess the man, Bo. And then.
So she's like, the trick is you take the pills, put them inside your cheek.
Yeah.
And even Bo is like, that is the oldest fucking trick in the book.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Bo Derek is telling John Derek, this is a bad idea. This is how fucking bad an idea it is.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, but look at Mickey Knox there. He's even stupider than you are. He'll fall for it. Yeah. And it's so fucking. This is the weirdest production part for me because the cut from her taking the pills, and it's a hard cut to her face down, ass up on a bed,
Yeah.
like instantly. Like there's no like Mickey Knox doesn't get a line like "I didn't see you take swallow them"
Yeah.
or like show me them on your tongue" or some shit. No, 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 just hard cut. She's failed. Mickey Knox is gone. She is now drugged on a bed in like night clothes, like pajamas.
Yeah.
And John Derek's like, "Wake up, fight the pills, fight the fucking pills.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go to the meeting." And it's so abrupt and weird. And I stopped. I thought maybe the copy fucked up, like maybe it skipped
Yeah.
ahead or something.
Yeah.
I don't. It just felt like scene missing.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, maybe John Derek, I was giving you too much credit as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like you I didn't know how to edit this or see it together from the script, so just hard cut.
Yeah.
She's drugged up, and now Bo Derek has to act drugged up, which is great, which is good fun for all. So, what's your thoughts? This is my big moment. This was the biggest thing I wanted to talk about. What's your thoughts on this bizarreness?
Honestly, I was kind of checked out by this point. So I was just
I'm
like,
still in.
okay,
I'm
a
still in.
guy's trying to rape and or murder Bo Derek. That's just what this
The
film needed.
So wait, I'm going to tell you the line I checked out because I'm talking about how fun this film was and how
Yeah.
much I enjoyed it. And I know you're saying it was better riffing if it was in person. I
Yeah.
would recommend watching this with friends. The last half hour though is a slog, and I think the line is from her friend. I'm a white witch. You know when all that shit's happening,
Yeah.
I was done. I was ready to watch it on fast forward. Just get to the fucking point. Wrap this shit up.
So my notes. Why did God make you so young? This is fucking painful. I can't remember who says that line, but like, why did God make you so young?
You know who said that line.
And then my next line, interminable. And then I just have killing the young guy. So like we just get so much padding that like it's kind of like how Hamlet. This is perhaps the only time that Ghost can't do it has been compared to Hamlet. But you know how Hamlet basically just boils down to Hamlet agonizing, like, if I kill my uncle this way, will this send him to heaven? Should I do it? Should I do it? My dad, this ghost is telling me to kill someone, but do I really want to? This is John Derek's Hamlet, starring Bo Derek as Hamlet. So she has to kill the younger guy because he needs to be dead. And so while getting to know him, she fucks him a bunch of times. And
at John's request at first,
yeah,
as well, because to get to know the body, to make it a good fit. So when I inhabit it, you're happy with it, basically. Yeah. Is it big enough?
Yeah. Does he have a micro penis? We need to know these things before I'm locked into that body for another 50 years.
So yeah, like to run through it.
Yeah. Test drive. Everyone knows you don't commit to buying a car before you can get behind the wheel and just.
So Bo Derek and Fisto hook up, and
because we need John Derek's cuckold fantasy of like
but
it needs to be someone else's.
John starts not getting happy about it as Bo starts to go, wait a minute, maybe cold-blooded murder isn't the solution. It's and she's fucking crazy.
She gets cold feet about killing him. Yeah,
because Fisto sees her talking to the ghost.
Yeah,
Fisto sees her pull a gun on him, and argue with the ghost about shooting him in the chest.
Because is she not going to sleeping pill him?
Well, she wants the rat poison.
Oh, rat poison! I knew it was poison, and then she kind of pulls out the gun. It's like, don't you dare! If any of you motherfuckers move, I'm gonna blow the head off every last one of you.
That's exactly it. So, and then John Derek's ghost gets jealous. He's like, "Fuck, you're not gonna kill Fisto, and you're gonna marry him, and I'm gonna watch you pound each other for the rest of eternity, aren't I?"
Oh no! I'm going to be stuck watching my wife fuck a younger man. What a tragedy. Truly, this is unendurable torment.
But in a nice twist of fate, when they go scuba diving, snorkeling, or whatever, disaster strikes, and Fisto drowns. And CPR, Bo gives the kiss of life. She performs CPR.
Yeah.
But as she does, in the moment of death, what happens? Well, you guessed it. Fucking John Derek's ghost jumps into Fisto in the weirdest way to convey it possible. he has now got is the body of Fisto with
Yeah.
the voice of 70-year-old Anthony Quinn, and
It's like the deep fake Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones, where it's like, okay, you've got this plastic young face, but you still sound
yeah,
like an 80-year-old
and
old
I
man.
just didn't expect it because I expected her to be like, yeah, Scott, is it
Yeah.
you? And him to be like, hey, babe,
Yeah.
like not
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of inflection or something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there's a change. I didn't expect the dubbed voice of a 70-year-old man to come out of those lips.
Yeah. No,
And I
neither. I
laughed.
was not
My
prepared.
final laugh, I was so fucking. I was like, John, you've done it again.
Yeah.
Just when I thought you were out, you pulled me back in. Found so fucking funny. And then that's it. They sleep together. They go horse riding. Fisto falls off a horse because apparently it's not an athletic body, despite it being a very athletic body.
Yeah. Well,
It's
it's
not
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 as
as
not as good as
not as
the
not as good as
80-year-old spry body of Scott. So yeah,
that has
this
a
guy
heart
doesn't
attack at
look
the
after
slightest
himself.
inclination.
Yeah. So
They would
uh,
crumble to dust if you got an erection. No, no, no. That's the body of steel.
this guy who's been performing manual labor, like this guy
And then
is
yeah,
is
this
not
guy
as
who's been
fit.
working
This
like a
strapping
slave.
6-pack yeah guy who goes swimming every day and just lives in the sun is not as fit as a billionaire who just lounges around all day. An 80-year-old billionaire.
And then the final scene is Fisto and Bo in the stables. The
Yeah,
stable boy, it's the oldest trope. He's
yeah,
again it's an ancient man doing this.
yeah,
And this is also the point where I did click as well as it's the line is she's stumbling away
yeah,
and she's like no more, no more, you're I'm gonna die, like
yeah,
I need to stop, you're gonna kill me. And Fisto with evil in his eyes comes pounding over the bale, like the hay bales. He comes jumping over like, well then prepare to die.
yeah,
And he crawls towards her like a fucking exorcist, and it's intended to be like romantic, I get it.
yeah.
It isn't.
It's not.
It comes off rapier than the Mickey Knox scene. And and then that's it. Then you're done. And then roll fucking credits.
Well, I have a line written here. I can't remember at what point it comes, but I think it's John Derek and Faust's body. As you kids say, I am out of here.
I'm out of
Yeah.
here. You kids in the 80s, 20 years ago or whatever said this. Fuck yeah. And then we roll the credits, and which gives me my final laugh. And yes, that was really Donald Trump as
Yeah.
his credit. I also noticed, I cut it out on this, the dog, I don't remember there being a dog. He's called Polo, but he's
Yeah.
in quotation marks. So I don't know if that's his stage name or
He doesn't.
they
He's
just.
being Alan Smithy. Is that what you're
Yeah,
suggesting?
he's been Alan Smithed. I think the dog was built higher than Trump though, so
Yeah.
that's fun. And yeah, that's us. Roll this out.
Yeah. So that brings us to an end of one of the most interminable films that we've had to watch for
It's
this.
one of the it is arguably the worst film. I rank it higher than Bolero because it's funner and funnier,
It's yeah.
weirder.
You're right.
You can talk about it.
You're right. Yeah.
Bolero is forgettable, and that's a worse sin for me. But in terms of if you were to sit in a theater, pay a ticket for this, and watch this film, fucking Jesus Christ, what?
This is
It's a
weirder
rough ride.
and more concerning, I would say, because
Oh yeah,
Bolero is
much more to
just
talk
kind
about.
of straight up like cuckold fantasy,
Yes.
whereas this is more like there's more of a malevolent feel to this film, and like it just seems like it's so scattergun, and that's why I'm asking all these questions of like, does John Derek know he's evil? Does this like that's why we have you said it was a twist, but I think it's a weird moral calculus of like if Bo murders Fausto, then suddenly this just like you can't have your protagonist do something that terrible and recover from it. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I don't want to not fuck Bo again, so he just dies in a happy twist of fate where our
Yes.
hands are completely clean.
Yep.
Like this just has it's so scattergun where like the half-assed murder subplot whatever it's like the half-assed like oh Bo's gonna do business now maybe it just
Hmm.
like he doesn't seem to have the vim or like vigor for anything. Even the way that like Bo Derek shot on the sex scenes, he doesn't have the
Yeah.
same juice that he does have in
He
Bolero.
doesn't.
It's kind of like his
He
heart's
is
not in it.
as yeah, like literally his heart's failed. It's given up. That's it is like it's weird. If it had a normal script, if this had the Bolero script, but the tired old John Derek, this would have been fucking horrific
Yeah.
because the basic thing, like Bolero was a bigger budget, but it was also more grandiose. It was more, he had more of a vision.
Yeah.
This is so flat and boring
Yeah.
looking at times. If you took out the weird shit, this would be horrific.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say as well, I did try and think of the quickest solution to fix this film.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to recast, rewrite, redirect, reshoot. Like this is, in my opinion, an impossible film to quickly fix. So the slightest fix I can do to make it somewhat better, I think, lies in the title.
Yeah.
I think Ghost Can't Do It is the worst title for a film I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
If this was just Ghost or a ghost love story or love ghost or ghost romance or whatever, spiritual love, call it whatever the fuck you want. Just pull out of a bag, random words to do with spectral love. Boom, done.
Yeah.
You could at least market it and make something.
Yeah.
But Ghost Can't Do It is the worst title ever. It sounds like a fucking Modest Day in the Time song. It sounds, Ghosts can't do it, parentheses, but they are funky or something,
Yeah. Ghosts can't do it, parentheses, funk.
On tap.
Yeah.
So it's such a stupid title. That's the only thing that you could cover up. You could make a box art out of it, put a better title on it, and trick people into viewing it. But the actual film itself, nothing can be done other than major heart surgery.
Yeah.
But what about you? What's your solutions?
Well, as I said, Donald Trump, expand him. Give Donald Trump some involvement with the supernatural subplot. That improves this massively. Or even just like Donald Trump winks is like, I wasn't actually born in this body. Like someone else for this. Or Trump asks like Scott for like, where we could get one of those good-looking Faustos. I'm thinking of doing this myself. That is one option. The other one we've kind of alluded to is John Derek being on camera and not having the weird afterlife thing. So one of my favorite directors, one of my favorite films, David Lowery's Ghost Story, we just have John Derek wearing a sheet in shot. Like,
I mean, I'd love that.
It's that's fulfilling his weird porn ambitions. If Imagine Fausto and Bo Derek are fucking, and then there's just a ghost in a bed sheet watching in the corner.
I mean, that's it. There's so much potential as well. You add more ghosts, put in things. There's so much to do with this idea, but again,
He's not interested in that. Yeah.
He's not interested. That's not what John
Therapy
wants.
Doesn't deal with other people. You're not speaking about your friend's imagined problems. You're speaking solely about I'm worried that I will die before fucking my wife as many times as I would like, and this is her damn fault for being so young and hot.
Yeah, sure it is.
Because I was unable to fuck her for the first 18 years of her life, which is a crime.
14 years, remember, it's John Derek.
So, do we even need to say the Razzie worthiness?
This is Razzie worthy. 100%.
Cut and dry. One of the most send them away.
In
You're
every category.
Yeah.
Bang.
Bake them away, toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the awards which this film garnered: shared worst picture, obviously, Ford Fairlane fucked. I would like Ford Fairlane, the sequel to this film, where he has to solve the murder of, no one actually, I guess.
No one, no one died. No,
Ford Fairlane, Spectral Detective, where he works out hey, that's not Fausto in there. Okay, so moving on. Oh my god, no way. The guy, John Derek, isn't nominated for worst actor.
No, Anthony Quinn is.
Yeah.
I mean. He's it's hard. He's not good. He's very tired and drunk, feeling like it. But he is also in a black screened room speaking to himself for most of it.
He is what we said about Bo Derek. He is the one that's working with I guess this maybe comes back to people we've worked with in the past who maybe have created
Mm-hmm.
fancy lands in their back garden or just
Mm-hmm.
living out. He's dealing with that with John
Yes.
Derek. Just he's playing. He's engaged in like this shouldn't be shown in cinemas. This should be a home video for John
Yes.
Derek to watch. He's doing one man wish fulfillment and doing the best
And
he
that's
can
it.
under the
When
circumstances.
when you
But
look
I
at it
think
as
he's
a,
bad.
it's exactly. I don't know how bad. I like in terms of Razzie
He's
for
worse than
me.
the Dice Man. He's worse than the Dice Man for
I mean,
sure.
he is worse than the Nice Man, and that pains me. Everybody in this is worse than everybody in Ford Fairlane. Okay, like I'm not gonna defend it, but I have
Another
sympathy.
fix for this film: cameo from Gilbert Gottfried, the ghost. His ghost leaves Ford
Oh
Fairlane,
my
and he's like,
god,
"Oh fucking shit, my Christ! John Derek's possessing a young get me out
you
of
can't say
here!"
"Holy fucking shit, my Christ in heaven." Yeah, sign me up.
Okay, I just think I think that you're a little more keen on Scott than I am, but when you see these nominations, you're gonna
Yeah.
take that all back. So,
Okay.
worst actress, Bo Derek won for Ghost Can't Do It as Katie.
Yeah, well earned.
Nothing really to say. Worst supporting actor, Donald J. Trump, cameo as himself in Ghost Can't Do It. I think that's undeserved. I don't think he should have even been nominated.
I agree with you. I understand why he's here. I
Yeah,
get it. Like this is a Razzie pop culture dunk, but it isn't warranted.
yeah.
He's still not good. Like he's better than most people. He's still not good though. So if I can't, if Quinn's got to be here, Trump's got to be here.
Okay,
We
I
all go. They all go down on the ship together. They all drown in a fishing net
a
together.
suicide pact that Ghost Can't. Yeah, then we have Leo Damien in Ghost Can't Do It as Fausto. So
It's very much the Fabio role, isn't
yeah,
it? Like,
exactly.
yeah. He's not good. Yep,
Yeah.
he's not an actor.
Worst supporting actress, Julie Newmar in Ghost Can't Do It as Angel.
Yeah, she is rough. She is very rough. Yeah, she deserves it.
Worst director, John Derek for Ghost Can't Do It, one of the most well deserved Razzies in history.
Absolutely.
So it was only nominated for worst screenplay, written by John Derek, because it obviously lost out to My Beloved Ford Fairlane. Insane!
Insane.
Insane! Because whatever
Insane.
you might not like about Ford Fairlane, on a structural level, it's clear and there's a plot. Whereas this is just
Yep.
like deluded, rambling fantasies of an old man with a fetish.
Yep. 100%.
Worst new star, Leo Damien and Ghost Can't Do It as Fausto.
Yep.
And then Donald Trump in Ghost Can't Do It as himself. So, yeah.
Yep. That's. Yep. That's. They're all warranted. There's no arguments for me.
And that's it. That's the lineup for Ghost Can't Do It. And we will be heading on to the second half of the podcast in a brief moment, which we will discuss all of the other winners and nominees for the year of 1990, including an old friend who we're going to visit under a graffiti bridge.
Oh.
Welcome back to the second half of watching worst films, in which we cover all of the other winners and nominees. So, worst picture, getting off to a flyer, Rocky 5.
Oh, fuck, it's 1990, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rocky 5, I have spoke at length about my disdain rather, for Rocky 5. It's the worst Rocky by a mile.
Yeah.
It's got good intentions. There's lots to like about it. There is good in there. It's just compared to the others, every single other one, it's by far the black sheep. It's by far the worst. It's also like the biggest missed opportunity. Rocky Five's the
Yeah.
one I'd want to do. Coming off Rocky Four, going back to the roots, going back to the city, like humbling Rocky is
Yeah.
such a good beat. And then, reading 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line for Rocky Six Balboa, you've got such an opportunity to have a great little stopping point, a bookmark, a bookend, wrapping
Yeah.
it up to lead on to the future. And you miss all of that by just not really getting what Rocky 1 was either. And remaking it is not the way. Like in the
Yeah.
90s, sleazy, cheesy, horrible, horrible way to do it. Yeah, Rocky 5 sucks. I really don't like it. It's worse than Ford Fairlane. but better than Ghost Can't Do It.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. I was not expecting to hear those
I
words
I
from you.
I have much more fun watching Ford Fairlane. Like
Yeah.
Rocky Five is, again, there's bits I like about it. Like I'm not saying it's a Razzie worthy winning picture, 'cause it's not.
Yeah.
1,000 times better than Ghost Can't Do It, but Ford Fairlane's a much funner, greater, like fresher adventure to go on. But yeah, it does deserve to be here. It deserves to be here for other things. I don't think worst picture Rocky Five. It deserves other things. Supporting actor, screenplay, director. I won't argue them. Stallone deserves some stuff for this, but that the overall picture isn't probably Razzie winning or nominating worthy.
Certainly, if we're using Ghost Can't Do It as the
Mm-hmm.
barometer,
Mm-hmm.
it's miles better than that. I had to look up my thoughts on Letterboxd because I watched all of these in the pandemic, all of the Rocky films apart from one and the Creed films, so they kind of blur into one a little bit, so I can't quite remember it. But this is the one where Rocky overcomes brain damage via montage. And
This is Tommy Gun. This is the
yeah,
boxing film with no boxing.
yeah,
This has got Sage Stallone as
yeah,
Sly's son. This isn't good. It's got Bill Conti back as music.
yeah,
That's a plus, but it's also a negative because the trajectory of the films getting Survivor and cheesier in '80s to go
yeah,
back to Conti and not use like a modern updating of the original and tying it in is stupid. You've got Conti in Karate Kid mode, but not Rocky One mode. So like
yeah,
it's a mess, but it's still fun. I
yeah,
if you're a Rocky fan, watch it. If you're not a
yeah.
Rocky fan, stay away from it.
It's not dreadful. It's just bad. And yeah, my note for that was like, performance wise, it's one of the most ropey in the franchise. Like, it feels like you're just watching like rehearsal footage at
Mm-hmm.
certain points. But anyway, moving on to another film which is kind of shaky in that regard, Graffiti Bridge.
Graffiti Bridge. So you're second. You've watched this. I will spoil it for everyone. You've told me
Yeah.
you watched this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so now I like this. I've seen Purple Rain and Cherry Moon. You've seen Cherry Moon and Graffiti Bridge. We meet together
Exactly.
in the middle
Yeah.
under the cherry moon. I like it. So what's your
Yeah.
thoughts on Graffiti Bridge?
It's crap. It's dreadful. It's so much worse than Under the Cherry Moon. Because that was why I made this a priority. I was like, oh, I had a good time with
Yeah.
Under the Cherry Moon a couple of weeks ago. I want to see, like, I wouldn't mind seeing more. And like, it's so bad. It's just like, I don't know. On this basis, I'm like, how on earth can Purple Rain be good?
Mm.
Because this is just like a Joel Schumacher Batman with Prince. He's just wandering through this kind of like weird, like kind of backlot like studio
Which
set, and Prince is
which is Purple Rain as well, but Purple Rain's
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
I think when you take, I think maybe the time period helps Purple Rain a lot more than 6 years or whatever, 4 years down the line. But yeah, continue.
I think I read somewhere that like at this point in time Prince was beginning to have his like religion arc,
Yeah,
and so he's kind of caught in between the like sexual Lothario and like, no, actually I'm like a
not I'm a
yeah,
symbol. Yes.
yeah. So it's just like Prince is so boring. He's got like big hair and he's very sort of Christ-like in his imagery, but he's just kind of moping around,
You know what
and
I
like it doesn't.
you know what I'm gonna fucking ask though. You know exactly what
Yeah,
I'm going to ask. How is the man himself, the main event, the reason you watched the film, Morris Day?
he steals the show.
Yeah.
Morris Day is great. Like if you cut Prince out of the film, you might have something.
Yeah.
Because like I think one of the things that hurts Graffiti Bridge is like I don't think the Prince songs are that good. Like it's not like you don't get Kiss or you don't
Yeah.
get the Mountains from Under the Cherry Moon and you don't get Purple
You
Rain
don't
from
get
Purple
Purple
Rain.
Rain.
So, but whenever he's not on screen, like the performances from other people, like there's the When the Time perform, it's good, and then there's like a woman who performs, which is also good. And whenever Prince isn't on screen, like Morris Day and Jerome, I'm like, could I not just be watching the two of you?
Yeah, they're the
Like, why am I
because
like
they've
this
got
little
great.
double
I
act?
was trying to say
Yeah,
that with Cherry Moon, like them and Purple Rain, like with Jerome as his little sidekick. That
yeah,
type, what they do in the time together
yeah,
is so
yeah.
fucking good. It's so entertaining. Yeah, it's weird that Prince's proteges can overshadow him.
Yeah.
Especially because he's fucking Prince as well. You never think anyone's going to take the limelight away.
Yeah.
Oh well,
So
it's kind of what I expected though. I expect because no one talks about Graffiti Bridge. It's a forgotten sequel that gets
yeah,
buried away, and it
yeah,
wasn't
it's not good.
successful. But compared to Forward Fairlane and Ghosts,
Worse than Ford, but better than Ghosts.
excellent, excellent.
Kind of more boring than Ghosts.
Yes.
Like it's not good, but it's just kind of like it's not ridiculously bad. It's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of boring, a bit dull, and like, why did you make this? What's going on here? It's kind of like it's kind of what we floated in that, like, it's a Hangover Part 2 of, like, you
Yes.
can tell Prince probably didn't really want to make it, and
Yes.
there's not a clear idea on why it needs to exist,
No.
but after Under the Cherry Moon they were like, well, you're not getting another original film made,
No.
that's for sure. So
Yeah.
then we have The Bonfire of the
Vanities.
Vanities. Have you
But
seen that?
I have it's my one of the few De Palmas I've never seen, simply
Go on.
because I have no interest in it. Have you seen it?
I watched it for this. In
Okay.
one ear, out the other. For a film with Bruno, with Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's like, what are you trying to do? Like, there are some scenes which are sort of shot well, and like F. Murray Abram drops a load of racial slurs. We get a bald Morgan Freeman. There's like little glimmers of moments
Hmm.
where, like, oh, this is something bizarre. But mostly it's just odd, and like everyone seems miscast.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of a bad David O. Russell film
All
where you're
right.
just watching this big ensemble and you're like, okay, this is kind of kooky. It's like a little Amsterdam-y, that kind of thing,
Okay. Yeah.
where like a lot of people doing weird accents and things. Everyone kind of seems miscast, and I'm not entirely sure why all of these people agreed to commit their time to this project.
Hmm.
But with the two joint winners, that's us done for
Oh,
Worst Picture.
that's quick.
So, yeah, Worst Actor. Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 5 as Rocky Balboa.
So I'm gonna echo what I kind of said about the film. It deserves
Yeah,
things: screenplay, supporting actors. I'm never gonna argue. This is Stallone worst Rocky performance.
yeah,
It's weird because he gets it in six. He can go back to Rocky, like what Rocky should be, but
yeah,
he's a bit of a dick and he's very unlikable and it's not like the humbling. This is why I'm saying I wanted to make five. I give me the father son relationship, the getting too
yeah.
old, like retirement approach and angle. Yeah,
Like,
that
yeah, exactly. Like the whole brain damage thing. Like, you could make an interesting movie with the pieces of, like, what do you do when you can't do it
yeah,
anymore? It's Rocky Ghost can't do it.
yeah,
Of
but
like,
he does that in
it's
six so well. Like so, six son does
yeah,
five a lot of it in terms.
exactly, yeah, yeah,
But there's a potential to have the out of retirement story, but the coming to terms with
yeah,
you don't have to be brain damaged. You don't have to be too old. You could just be, it's like we talk about, a footballer's 36 and
yeah,
it's inevitable. It's coming. Like you can't keep
yeah. The
doing this.
slow march of
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see that while also trying to come to terms with being a dad and the light fading as well of the
Just needs
star.
a montage, Kyle.
And
Your
I
golden
want,
days
I
are
want,
behind you. They're
and
back.
this is what's fucking pisses me off about Stallone in it is Stallone in 1990 is coming to the end of his peak in terms of like
Yeah.
the biggest draw in the world. So like
Hmm.
incorporate that, put your own feelings into the fucking thing, like make it a really
Yeah.
personal, like Rocky One was.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm not a big fan of Stallone in this. So I'm sorry, Sly, I love you to bits, and it's nice that you got Frank a bit of work again, but nah, like not your best.
Next up, we have George C. Scott in The Exorcist 3 as Lieutenant William Kinderman.
Wow. So maybe that's why you had George C. Scott in the brain.
I had just watched The Exorcist, so I think that was it.
Is it
Yeah.
you watch Exorcist
The
3?
Exorcist 3. Yeah, I
Yes,
watched
okay.
this. Yeah.
So Exorcist 3, for the record, is one of my favorite films,
Uh huh.
not just horror films. I
Yeah.
love Exorcist 3. I love so much. I love my boy Brad is so
Yeah.
fucking good in it. I love everything about fucking Fabio's in it for fuck's sake. Everything about this film, I love Exorcist 3. I love George C. Scott in it as well as detective, lieutenant, cop.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call him the cop. I can't remember his name. The one that's not the priest.
Yeah.
He's
Bill
fantastic.
Kinderman.
I love him in it. I don't have anything. The only thing I dislike about The Exorcist 3 is the fucking stairs at the end
Hmm.
to make me remind me of Exorcist 1, despite name dropping things throughout the whole, like Damien gets name dropped and he's obsessed and all the shit, all the stuff that links it to the first film is what
Yeah,
I dislike the most. But the
yeah,
stairs really piss me off. Other than that,
yeah,
I love this film. I love George C. Scott. I love everything about this film. So
yeah.
it's a big, big no from me here. I don't know why this has popped up. What was your thoughts on? I'm curious in your opinion.
I didn't love it as much as you. I think it ends on a real high.
It
I got a
does.
little bit bored in the beginning. It starts strong and then like it kind of sags in the middle for me. But by the end, it's like that thing I might have referenced on the podcast, how people speculate that the Rolling Stones save all their energy for the last few songs,
Mm,
so people leave the leave the venue going like, "Wow, they've still got it," even though he was kind of like like sort of shuffling. As long as he can still jump around
hmm.
for Jumpin' Jack Flash, people are like, "Yeah, Mick Jagger, ever young." I end on a high because then chances are I will forget how bored
Yeah.
I was during
I,
parts of your
it's
film.
it,
Be like,
it's such a strange like production as well. You know, like it's Blatty, obviously not
yeah,
Friedkin this time, and
yeah,
based off Legion, so which isn't an Exorcist book, but the
yeah,
producers making him tie it into his own work and him
yeah,
fighting it, but that I am not going to
yeah,
base this off my own fucking work makes me so happy. It's such like cantankerous mentality that I love about it.
yeah. It's a very Kyle production, I
It is,
guess.
and it's such a clean sequel. I talk about my love for two. Two's a terrible film. Two, if that
Yeah,
Razzies existed, would have swept. But two is
yeah,
an insane fever dream,
yeah,
and three is such a I talk about Psycho 2, Texas Chainsaw 2, all these sequels I love because they are so different. And The Exorcist 3 and 1 are so, like, as films, as far apart
yeah.
as you could be. And I fucking adore it. And they never do it again, ever. They'll try 30
Well,
times
just
and they'll never
makes me
fucking do
excited to
it.
see what David Gordon Green is going to bring
Oh,
to the
no,
franchise.
absolutely fucking nothing. Get, you know,
Yeah, so yeah, this is the only nomination for the film, so all I can really say is George C. Scott is great. Like,
yep.
yeah, he delivers a similar performance to Hardcore, Patton, Strange Love, like the things like George C. Scott just can do that kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
quite well. I think he's yeah. I don't see what Mr. Razzie sees to consider him Razzie worthy at all. Really, I think he's solid, good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Mickey Rourke in
Oh,
Desperate Hours and Wild
oh.
Orchid as Michael Bosworth and James Wheeler.
So I haven't seen Wild Orchid. I'm hoping you can pull me out of that one. I
Oh, thank God! Yeah.
and thank God because I have seen Desperate Hours a long.
So I
Oh,
watched the Wild Orchid and I didn't have time to watch Desperate Hours. So between us,
yes, I watched it a long time ago. I watched it when I was on
yeah,
Camino, Michael, however you pronounce it, Camino. I binged all his works. I thought there's potential here. This could be one of my favorite filmmakers. Let's go
yeah.
see. Can he be consistent? Can he carry this on? The answer is no, he cannot. Desperate Hours is fucking shit. It is.
Yeah,
It is fucking boring, and it's my. I don't like dramas, and
yeah,
it's meant to be this crime thriller, but it's so fucking drama heavy that I
yeah,
hate it. Mickey Rourke's fine. He's the lead.
yeah,
Again, I'm going back on memory. I like early Mickey Rourke. I like later. I mean, wrestler. I like
yeah,
Rourke in things. He's fine. It's a bad film though, so like, yeah, and he's lucky it's not popped up more, especially on his name as well. Like Chimino, you could put him in the fucking ground, Mr. Razzie here.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not good. He deserves it. How was Wild Orchid?
Wild Orchid's crap.
Yeah.
Wild Orchid is like softcore porn. Like
Yeah.
it's an erotic. I don't want to say even an erotic thriller because it's not really that thrilling. Yeah, no, an American erotic film directed by Zalman King. So he's not good in it. Yeah, and he's so bad that it kind of makes me doubt him. Where I'm like, obviously the wrestler is like unparalleled, but I was like, how much have I liked him in other things?
Mhm.
Is he actually that good? And think back to Sean Penn when we're speaking at him. I was beginning to doubt Mickey Rourke and be like, is he like a Sean Penn guy who, if you remove the wrestler, he's good but not irreplaceable in things? But yeah, I don't know. I need to watch some more early Mickey Rourke just to kind
Yeah,
of
same.
recalibrate after a Wild
I,
Orchid.
I, I agree with that.
And so moving on, we have Prince in Graffiti Bridge as the kid.
So yes, from you, is it?
Yeah, this is just kind of an illustration of all that you said about him on Under the Cherry Moon, in that like he's not having any fun. He's just kind of like a self-serious, like swooning around through the film, just kind of a little sanctimonious
Yeah.
in the performance, and it's just not like it's not what anyone wants to watch. So it's bad, it's misjudged. Yeah, not good.
Fair, fair, fair.
And then the winner, Andrew Diceman Clay in Ford Fairlane, which we covered in our last episode.
Yes, we did.
Certainly, he is better than all of these performances except George C. Scott, potentially.
Yes.
So, undeserved. And big miss for Scott. Like, Scott is also worse than... He's worse than the Dice Man. He's worse than George C. Scott.
Yep.
And he's worse than Stallone. He is...
Yeah, I agree with all that.
Probably, he's worse than Mickey Rourke in Wild Orchid.
Yep.
And he's probably kind of on a par with Prince. So, yeah. Then, worst actress, Talia Shire in Rocky V as Adrian Balboa.
I'm gonna say no, but she's wasted. Like, she's really fucking wasted. Again, when I say five's a missed opportunity, there's such a good arc to carry on from like the rise and fall, like the stardom to back where it begins. And although there is arcs here, they're buried under Rocky's brain damage, his son, Tommy Gunn, all these other fucking plots that have to be. Natalia and Bert don't get enough. Like what should be a personal like drama, and yeah, she's wasted, but she's fine. She's still fine. She knows what the fuck to do at this point as well. Like she is her character. So that's not her fault. That's Stallone's fault for the screenplay.
Yeah.
Give her a pass here.
Then we have Molly Ringwald in Betsy's Wedding as Betsy Hopper.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. Directed by Alan Alda.
Oh, okay.
Starring Alda, Joey Bishop, Madeline Kahn, Catherine O'Hara, Joe Pesci, Ali Sheedy, Bibi Betch, Burt Young, and Molly Ringwald. So it's another Breakfast Club reunion.
But it's like 1990 as well, so like Ringwald's getting like she's not a teenager anymore. So I imagine this is going to be a more mature role. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, she's Betsy Hopper and it's Betsy's wedding, so you wouldn't let a child get married.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we have Bette Midler in Stella as Stella Claire.
Yeah, I've heard of Bette Midler, but never heard of Stella. So no comment.
So Stella, adaptation of the 1923 novel Stella Dallas, previous film versions Stella Dallas, and a silent film Stella Dallas from 1925. The character is a vulgar and unfashionable single mother living in Watertown, New York, who's determined to give her daughter Jenny all the opportunities she never had, ultimately makes a selfless sacrifice to ensure her happiness. You know what? Maybe I'll watch Stella. Has Ben Stiller and John Goodman in supporting roles.
Yeah. Sign me up.
Then Melanie Griffith in The Bonfire of the Vanities as Maria Ruskin. So Melanie Griffith, perennial Razzie contender. She's bad in this. She's doing like a southern accent, and it's just she's not really getting around it. It's very awkward. And unnatural. And she's fortunate in that she has, of course, Bo Derek in the same category, because no one can hope to contend with Bo.
No.
Moving on to worst supporting actor, Burt Young in Rocky V as Paulie Panino. He's ditched his robot and he's back for the Razzies.
Yeah, see Talia, exact same.
Yeah.
Wasted. Burt's great. He's a highlight of the Rocky franchise, and you've just cast him aside. Absolutely. It's Burt and Talia get passes.
Then we have Wayne Newton in The Adventures of Ford Fairlane as Julian Grendel. We spoke about him in our last episode. You kinder on him than I am, but neither of us don't think he hugely deserves it. Gilbert Gottfried in The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Look Who's Talking To, and Problem Child as Johnny Crunch, Joey, and Mr. Peabody.
I'm trying to remember it right. So, we covered this. We loved him. I've seen Luke Who's Talking To, and I've seen Problem Child. They were childhood staples for me. In Problem Child, he is the villain, the baby. I can't remember what he is. I can't remember what he is, but he's the bad guy in Problem Child, and he's fantastic as being an annoying antagonist. He's perfect. His voiceover.
He's the adoption agent, apparently, who wants the problem child out of the.
There you go. I remember him. I remember John Ritter, and I can remember Gilbert, and I remember a baby. or like toddler. That's it. Like I remember that.
Michael Richards is also in Problem Child. So.
Problem word.
And do you know who directed it?
I don't.
It was the directorial debut of Dennis Dugan, who would
Oh,
go on to become best pals with Adam Sandler and
yeah.
direct all of the Happy Madison
Shit.
films.
You know
So,
what? Like I see it. I do see it. I can see it. Like in terms of you, Adam
because
Sandler. Yeah.
I think we spoke about Dennis Dugan phoning it in, and you were like, "Yeah, he's just," and I was like, "No, there has to be at some point. He was like on
Yeah.
it, I
Yeah.
think, and now
Yeah.
he's on autopilot." But yeah,
I
anyway,
I Luke who's talking to though I can't comment on. I remember it like I can see Kirstie Alley's voice coming out of a
yeah,
baby, but I could or the
yeah,
cat is a sequel. I can't remember them. I watched them a lot as a kid though. Mr. Razzie hasn't watched them though. He's just doubling down on Gilbert here.
yeah, yeah. And then that's kind of us done. So obviously Leo Damien and Ghost Can't Do It as Fausto, and then the winner Donald Trump as himself in Ghost Can't Do It.
Hmm.
So yeah, kind of an odd category with no super strong contenders there. Worst supporting actress, however, Ali Sheedy in Betsy's Wedding as Connie Hooper.
Yeah, same as again. I don't mind cheesy, but again we're getting all the Breakfast Clubs, so
Yeah,
um,
on the
yeah.
basis of Blue City, I'm doubting her abilities as an actor, but I haven't seen it, so I cannot comment.
Yep.
Julie Newmar in Ghost Can't Do It as Angel, covered Kim Cattrall in The Bonfire of Vanities as Judy McCoy. Kim Cattrall's not great, but in comparison with Melanie Griffith, she's not awful.
Okay.
And I think like everyone's just kind of beyond Melanie Griffith's weird accent, everyone's kind of the same level of bad in Bonfire of the Vanities. Like Tom Hanks and Bruno aren't great, and Kim Cattrall I would put on the same level. So I perhaps think this is Mr. Razzie struggling to name women and just be like, get me a name from Bonfire of the Vanities. Then we have Roseanne Barr, voice only, in Look Who's Talking To, as Julie Ubriacho.
Yeah, not like fuck yourself there though. Again, it's Gilbert. It's I don't like their voices, and I'm gonna just nominate them. Yeah, I'm gonna stick up for Roseanne. Eh? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
gonna be my
You
hill.
believe that she shouldn't have been cancelled and that her opinions, conservative voices, are being silenced? Is that what you're saying? And then the winner is someone we're going to have a lot of opinions about, Sofia Coppola in The Godfather Part 3 as Mary Corleone.
Yay! It's 1990 indeed. Fuck,
Yeah,
I'm very glad Godfather Part 3 has escaped because
yeah,
I didn't. I'm not saying it deserves anything because I really really love 3 more than
yeah,
most people, and but I know how fashionable it would have been to dunk on it and sweep it. To be honest, Godfather Part 3
yeah.
would have swept it out of spite. And how funny am I?
And you can kind of make a case for the first two being like two of the greatest films of all time. Like the third one's kind of doomed in that,
It's
like
doomed. If you,
in contrast,
it's so good though.
it's
If you,
it's the Razzie worthy one of the trilogy
yeah,
because it's
but
just not a masterpiece.
it's not a masterpiece, but it's still great. And if anyone
Yeah, I
else
don't.
did
Yeah,
it, if this was called, if he got his original wish and he got away from Godfather Part 3,
that's well, I don't know. I don't think it's the. I think it's like it's frustrating because it's like the oh, if you had Robert Duvall back, if this, like, if the pieces, if the stars had aligned, Godfather Part 3 could have been incredible because I like a lot of what it's going for. It's just kind
but
of wrong place and
I don't,
time.
I almost don't want Part 3. I don't want Duval.
Yeah,
I want a spin, like an epilogue, like he was wanting to do.
yeah, yeah,
I think its biggest problems are the connections to the first two. And
yeah.
if this was
That
just called
expectation.
The Sicilian, if it had like a different
Yeah.
title, and no one would pipe up in
It
the
was called
slightest.
The Death of Michael Corleone.
It's got flaws, of course it does. Like you're comparing it to two masterpieces.
Yeah,
It isn't a passion project this way the first two were. There
yeah,
is elements, but it's again it's still Coppola trying, and
yeah.
when Coppola tries, it's you can't fucking beat it. However,
Even when
again,
he doesn't, even when he
yeah,
doesn't try, still.
no, it's when you get Jack, buddy. I fucking
Yeah,
hate
yeah, yeah,
Jack. Anyway, though, on that note, back on top, Sophia does suck. There's kind of
yeah.
no way around it. You
Nepo baby.
It is mad Nepo baby. I know I love her work as a director. She'll go on and do some.
She's gone on like yeah, this is a shaky start, and I've loved like basically everything she's done since this, not least Phantom Menace. But
Yes.
yeah,
She sucks.
she
She's
is unfortunately become a lightning rod for
yeah.
this film
And
and all
it
the criticism of it.
I am going to be honest, it is one of my, in my opinion, one of the worst performances like I've seen in a film like not in a fucking John Derek production. I'm talking like a
Yeah,
big
in an auteur
yeah.
cinema
It's
thing.
one of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
worst
yeah.
I've ever seen.
Mm,
And so yeah, like yeah, she deserves it. She does deserve it. It sucks because she's young. It's like a debut, and it's
yeah,
all the criticism in media. But blame your dad for putting you here.
yeah. Hmm.
Like it's Francis Ford. He has to hold the weight of sin for casting his daughter. But she does suck. So yeah, she's eligible on now.
Yeah. Come
Coming,
on down to promote
yeah,
Priscilla and yeah,
and talk about
speak
Phantom
to us
Menace.
about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, then we have worst director, Prince for Graffiti Bridge. Yeah, it's. I wonder how much of it he was doing because, like, it could be worse in certain ways. It's kind of just like Under the Cherry Moon in that like the performances aren't great. I like as a story, it isn't great, but there are elements of it that suggest like he's more competent than John Derek certainly. And where like I don't know, like if you told me this was just like a music video hack who would like it could
Mhm,
be like a journeyman who made Graffiti Bridge. So I'm like it's almost like impressive that you can be like an industry like field defining star of music and then even just a competent director.
mhm.
But yeah, anyway. Then we have Renee Harlin for The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Covered that at length. Film good. Renee, nothing, not attached to any of the issues with the film. Brian De Palma for The Bonfire of the Vanities. I think De Palma directs it okay. He's probably like it's probably better than it has any right to be, and the kind of the interest in The Bonfire of the Vanities is kind of just because De Palma directs it. If
Mhm.
it was someone else, it might have fallen through the cracks, and I guess that's why he gets the all-star cast. Is probably
Mhm.
people wanting to work with De Palma. Bad film, but uh, then we get John G. Alvidson for Rocky Five.
Yeah, that's what I've covered before. Obviously Avildsen directs the first one. You bring him back,
Yeah,
you bring Conte back. And just like Conte, though, if you look at what Avildsen does between Rockies, Rocky 1 and 5, I'm sure he does other shit. I don't know. I forget. It's three Karate Kids. Like, that's what he
yeah,
does. He leaves
yeah, yeah.
Rocky, he does Karate Kids, comes back, and Karate Kid defies Rocky. He
Yeah,
regresses. Like, he's the problem. He deserves, like, Stallone's the problem for writing the fucking thing. But
yeah,
like the look of this film makes it look like Cry Kid Part 4, and that's not what the return into the roots should have looked like. It's disgusting the way it's been like directed, and it's his fault. So yeah, like it's a nice intention going back to the well, but like it's like rehiring Pete Best in like Abbey Road.
yeah,
Like he's not going to be
yeah,
better than
yeah.
he was. He's not going to have learned
No,
in
it's
beyond
just
the
the story.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
yeah.
yeah, he deserves it here. I'm going to give him allow his nomination.
And then, of course, Left Dead in the Water by the winner, John Derek for Ghost Can't Do It. All time contender. If we were to
Yep,
make a short list of the 5 worst directors in the history of the Razzies, John Derek would be on it
yep,
for sure, I reckon.
yep,
Worst screenplay, Rocky 5, written by Sylvester Stallone. So you kind
yep,
of covered it there.
yep. Well deserved.
Graffiti Bridge, written by Prince. Yeah. Where do you start, really? The question asked by Prince when sitting down to write Graffiti Bridge. Um, then we have Ghost Can't Do It, written by John Derek. Okay, that's the opposite of like that's a laser focused
Yeah.
like it's interesting in that it's almost like an art house film. It's just like it's just based off the idea of like there's no structure to it. It's just kind of this like him
Mhm.
introspecting and investigating his like would I kill a younger man if it enabled me to fuck my wife one more time? Yes, I would.
You've done it again, John.
Then The Bonfire of the Vanities, screenplay by Michael Christopher, based on the novel by Tom Wolfe. Yeah, the screenplay is not good. Then we have The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, screenplay by Daniel Waters and James Capp, and David Arnott, based on characters created by Rex Weiner. We discussed that, so that is the winner. We discussed that last week. So yeah, we're making great pace now as we head off to Worst New Star. Donald Trump in Ghost Can't Do It as himself, kind of covered in the
Yep.
first half. Probably going to mispronounce this. Carrie Otis in Car Otis, like John Le Carre. Carrie Otis in Wild Orchid as Emily Reed. She's dodged a bullet in that she could have been nominated for another role in another category. She's the woman who just has sex with Mickey Rourke for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I've never
And
even heard of her, so there.
yeah, didn't go on to great shakes afterwards and is a model actress. And I know we have been less than kind about them in the past.
Hmm.
Apparently, she would later appear in another Rourke film, Exit in Red. So they at least had a good experience in that film, which is just them having sex for an hour and a half.
There.
Then we get Leo Damien in Ghost Can't Do It as Fausto, covered. Ingrid Chavez in Graffiti Bridge as Aura.
Hmm.
Oh, I can't quite remember who this is. Oh, is she the one that writes poetry? No, I think. Oh, she's yeah. No, I don't think she's an angel. Apparently, I don't think she didn't stand out to me. And then the winner, Sofia Coppola in The Godfather Part 3 as Mary Corleone. So we've kind of
Yeah, that's all covered, I'd
done it to
say.
death. You'd agree with her, I think,
Yep, yep,
for Worst
yep.
New Star. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. Worst Nepo hire.
Yep,
Worst daughter being fucked over by dad putting her in.
yep,
Just like
100%.
something which is gonna, like, I don't know. It's like for what an amazing director she's become. Like it's kind of like an annoying stain on her legacy that there's this one kind of like it would be like Ahmed Best going off to direct like a bunch of amazing films. And like, hey, weren't you Jar Jar Binks? Um,
No, that was another Ahmed Best.
and then it's the Kyle category
It
once
is.
again. Worst original song. He's Coming Back, The Devil from Repossessed, music and lyrics by Chris LeVar.
I had a look for this too. I couldn't find it. Did you get it?
No. Have you
No.
seen Repossessed though?
That's the Leslie Nielsen Exorcist, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I
Yep.
have seen. Of course, I've seen that, Jericho. It's shit from what I remember though. 'Cause this is like fucking Spy Hard era. This is like the 90s. Leslie's
Mhm.
not the same as 80s Leslie. I maybe it's good. Maybe I'm misremembering it. I don't know the song though, so no comment.
Then we have The Measure of a Man from Rocky 5, music and lyrics by Alan Menken.
What's your thoughts on this?
I don't remember it well enough and I
No,
haven't
it's
listened
it's
to it.
it's
I
pretty
do
shit.
not have any. Yeah,
I think
probably.
I think this is when you slap a Frank Stallone song
Yeah.
because you're not getting Survivor, you're not getting the big 80s hair bands, you're going back to the roots. It's a really poor song. Again, Conti soundtrack's not good, and the whole from the score to the music, nothing's good about like the audio of Rocky Five. So just on that alone, I'm gonna say this is a winner, especially coming
Yeah.
off of like 3 and 4, where you've had belter after belter of songs, and between 1, 3, and 4, that's like everybody's gym playlist right there. To
Yeah.
go to like, nah, yeah, you've massive misfire is the song, so I don't like it.
Then we have One More Cheer from Stella, written by Jay Gruska and Paul Gordon.
Which nearly
Thoughts?
nearly put me to sleep.
Yeah?
I don't know much Bette Midler. I imagine
No.
they all sound like this, like a Barbara Streisand sort of middle of the road, like pop radio music. I
It's
don't know.
just
It's
Bette Midler sings Smoke Gets in Your Eyes to
yeah.
me, kind of one of those so kind of unremarkable.
A beat
Not bad,
appears in the
not
middle.
good,
Yeah, a beat
just
appears in
yeah.
the middle, but I have nothing to say about it. Nothing.
Okay, that brings us to the end for another year. We do have the stinkers, so we'll just run through those. Interestingly, they departed completely where they gave their award to the Bonfire of the Vanities, maybe because it's more of a Mr. Razzie headline grabbing, like
Hmm.
bigger star names, because it in no way is even comparable to Ghost Can't Do It.
No.
Their other shortlist, Far Out Man, The Forbidden Dance, Ghost Can't Do It, and Look Who's Talking To. Just run through their dishonorable mentions. The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Another 48 Hours, Dark Man, Dick Tracy, Ernest Goes to Jail, Exorcist 3, Fire, Ice and Dynamite, Ghost Dad, Graffiti Bridge, Graveyard Shift, Home Alone, I Love You to Death, Jetsons the Movie, Joe versus the Volcano, Lambada, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Never Ending Story 2, the next chapter, Problem Child, Rocky 5, The Shrimp on the Barbie, Ski Patrol, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Texasville, Three Men and a Little Lady, Wild Orchid.
Wow. Fuck, I am so fucking surprised we weren't watching Ghost Dad this week. Cause I forgot about that. That's a notoriously bad film. You know, that's like Cosby's worst, isn't it? So I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for that. Exorcist 3, absolutely fucking not. My Beloved Darkman, not a
Yeah.
chance in hell. Home Alone being there. There's some
Wild.
crazy. Texas Chainsaw 3 is a surprise because I forgot about 3.
Yeah.
Leatherface. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is great fun. I don't know what the fuck thinkers are smoking. But yeah, no, it's a, you know what? Like I believe they watched them all though, and they might not have enjoyed them, but there's a diversity here that I quite like.
Yeah.
Whereas this week is just Mr. Razzie watched Ford Fairlane, Graffiti Bridge, and Ghost Can't Do It, and that's it. That's all he fucking watched. But yeah, it's a strange one, but some good stuff there. I've never heard of The Forbidden Dance, and I've also never
Uh-huh.
heard of Far Out Man, which is a solo Chong of Cheech and Chong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
during their breakup, during their differences. But yeah, I know nothing about those films, so I have no comment for the actual nominations.
Yeah, I probably misread that. You're right. It's like Far Out Man and
Yeah,
not Far Out Man, like
yeah,
Dark Man's nemesis.
yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to a close
It
for
does indeed.
another year. The finish line approaching
It really
by
is
the
now.
week.
Yeah.
So, if you have enjoyed the podcast, for the remaining weeks, we can be contacted at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com if you want to have your say on this year or any of the other years. In fact, if you look at the list, you'll probably be able to work out what we'll be covering quite soon. So if you want to contribute anything about those films, then please do get in touch. You can follow us on social media where we are Watching Worst. And, why not? Why not check your old friends Jericho and Kyle a review on social media for good luck. Help
Yeah.
people find the show when we have a handful of episodes left to cover. And you can join us next week when it feels this is probably accelerating the feeling of time speeding up because we've done 2 double bills. It
hmm
doesn't feel like too long since our last special, but we are in special territory once again. And as we are coming to the end of our Razzie quest, our hero's journey is coming to a close. We have learned and grown so much. We started out our journey as naive, inexperienced 30-year-old boys, and we are now becoming men. And so it's time for us to confront the villain looming large, a director. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but someone who I have an incredible amount of distaste for. Next week, we are covering the career of Kevin Smith.
Yes.
So,
I mean, the thing is, we've done this episode for 10 years, just
yeah.
talking about Kevin Smith and
Mm-hmm.
sort of the fascination. I'm really keen for this. I'm not going to say a Kevin Smith fan, that's far too much of a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I loved, though, Clerks and Dogma growing up.
Yeah.
I have time for Clerks 2 and Zack and Miri. That's about it. Like, that's about it. I'm pretty thin, but like, there's
Well, I
stuff.
hate all of them.
You
So.
hate them all, though, so I'll be a little bit like his lawyer, but once we get past 2010, he's got to defend himself. So,
I'm really apprehensive about this because it just feels like kicking the hornet's nest. Of we've obviously got a lot of criticism on social media for our clip where I rant about the Goodbye Horses gag. And so I'm like, oh, he has a lot of shooters out there. I don't like being a hater. Like he's
no, no,
just a
no.
guy who I don't want to kick him when he's down.
And I don't want it to
It,
come out as of jealousy either, an
oh
untalented
yeah, for
hack
me it's
that gets to
massive.
make 10 films, 15 films. That's like, there is a little bit of bitterness in this.
Yeah, for me, it's like seeing like a schlubby guy who references things and has no visual sensibility and makes overly talky films, and seeing myself reflected in that. It's an incredible amount of self-loathing. So that's what it's going to be. This is going to be our Bolero. This
Yes.
is me working through my issues
Yes.
our ghost can't do it. Sorry, this is my therapy session next week, where maybe we end and we go like, you know what, Kevin, you're all right after all.
Mm.
But join us for that next week. Who knows what
Excellent.
it's going to be like? Maybe
Who
we'll
knows?
have a turnaround. Maybe we'll love him. Maybe this will become a Kevin Smith fan cast. But I am a little apprehensive about associating Kevin Smith with the worst film label. So if you don't get any social media content for this episode, just know Jericho has chickened out. But
See you then, guys.